Hey everybody, how's it going? Happy Monday. Um, I guess it's been a long Monday, but happy Monday. Me and Jason are here, and we have Ryan Seymore.
Hey
Welcome, Ryan
guys.
Seymore. I have a couple questions to ask him. We'd love you guys to ask some questions too. He's pretty knowledgeable. So, hey, Adam.
So
We're gonna say something, Jason.
I was just saying, what's up, everybody?
Oh, well, they said so. What was it? So what? I was wondering. I want to go ahead and share out, but I want to ask you this question since we were talking about some kind of experiments that you had done lately. If you want to kind of talk about the experiments.
Yeah. So we've been, especially at the most recent investigation that we did, we've kind of been collaborating with a few investigators and running ideas back and forth. But the topic of what we have been trying to focus on is um, the idea of playing time period music and reading stories associated with certain points in time that would trigger a response or a reaction from the spirits that are said to haunt certain locations. So, for an example, the last investigation we did was last month at the Samuel Miller Mansion in Columbia, Pennsylvania, and we had been planning this idea for almost a year. And a very, very close friend of ours, Bonnie, she met us at the mansion right at noon on the 26th of last month. And we immediately just started getting everything ready because this idea, like I said, was in the works for almost a year. And what we did was the the history associated with this building is very diverse. The trail for an Indian slaughter was right through the town of Columbia, Pennsylvania. So you have Native American. The Underground Railroad was right there in the building where we're investigating. There's even an Underground Railroad tunnel that's filled in now in the basement of the Samuel Miller Mansion, and across the street they had just torn down an older building, and they found, while excavating, two more tunnels leading to the Samuel Miller Mansion where they would pass slaves back and forth when they would come to get them. But the people that owned the Samuel Miller Mansion at the time, they were against all of this, so they played a role in actually protecting the people that were there, that were enslaved by these people and that had gotten away. And there were some things that weren't very good that had happened in the building that was documented. It's actual factual information that we were presented with by the owner as well as other investigators. But you have the Underground Railroad, the Indians, and then you had um, pretty much like a cluster of different companies that were there as well. Like there was a grain mill at one time. It was also a toy store at one time. So this location played a lot of different roles. So depending on who is there, which I say it like that because I don't like to put you know, I don't like to put things out there without factual information or being able to prove or disprove. So
I
with
like that.
that with that being said, we kind of went in with the idea of let's try to tackle every aspect and put the pieces together by playing music and reading articles from newspapers and things of that nature. And we got amazing responses. And we went on, I think, three different three different sessions. We did about three different sessions, and we would space them, and we would leave recorders and cameras. We had a 4-channel DVR running in the upstairs, facing from all angles in different rooms, and we would run 4 recorders at a time. And I do studio recording as a hobby, and I took my studio equipment and we ran 3 microphones so I could see live on a screen when we were capturing EVPs with different microphones for different spectrums of audio. And I don't want to say the number of EVPs we captured during these sessions that we did, but I will say that in a span of about five hours or so with these sessions that we did, the number is greater than 15. And I haven't released any of them yet because it's in Columbia, Pennsylvania. All of these we were able to debunk as being us speaking because at the time we had 7 cameras running. We had 4 of our EVP recorders, 1 of another investigator, and then we had at one point in time a body camera stationary down on the first floor. And we had a trail camera that unfortunately died in the attic, along with several other pieces of equipment, followed by my fiance being touched at the same time. All this equipment is breaking. So I'm like, all of this put together was a great idea that just went really well. I don't know if it was just the time of year or day or if it was just luck, but we did our best to really narrow down what we wanted to do and plan it, and it worked out really well. I just finished the DVR review footage today. When I got your message, I was a little late responding to you because I was finishing up the last DVR camera. We had over 64 hours of video with just DVR cameras, and we still have 4 audio recorders to look at, and we have greater than 15 EVPs at the moment.
Oh no, that's a lot of hours. Do you break it up like through a long span of time, or try to?
Yeah, I've been reviewing this, especially like on my days off. Like today, I got off early, and I've been watching DVR footage since 1 o'clock, and I didn't finish until after 6:30 tonight. So
yeah. That's what some people don't realize, boy. If you really want some EVPs, you got to put the time in.
It's work, and it's totally worth it. That's like I always say, like, just if you wanna make something happen, just don't be scared to work. Just do it and do it right.
Sir, with the music, were you getting any different reactions with different time period of music, or was it certain?
We even went as far as playing Christmas music just to see if we could get a reaction. And we weren't just playing this on a phone. We took an acoustic guitar, we took literature, we were playing songs and just singing out loud songs from like the slavery times. And I mean, just doing everything we can to just make a connection and express our sympathy to the situation, and expressing our genuine compassion for them as people, and saying that we were against that. It's not the same now, and just being human and talking to them on a human level, regardless of being present with us or not. Obviously we can't physically see them, and without recorders most of the time we can't physically hear them. So we were doing everything that we could to give them an opportunity to connect with us through something that was familiar to them. And we made multiple connections with them, including through like children's rhymes. Like we did at one point, I'll give you this because this was cool. I can't wait for you guys to see the video. It's such a weird EVP we captured. I'll tell you this one though. It was we did Little Miss Muffet because there's said to be children in the building. And when our friend Bonnie, she said, and along came a spider and sat down beside her, we get an EVP that goes, uh-oh. And it's so clear. And it's like the in between that and the other EVPs that we captured, you can totally tell that there is multiple people responding to these very specific things that we are doing.
That's kind of neat. Do you find multiple different kinds of voices, like kid voices and grown-up voices, or more male or more female?
Male, female, children. We captured. It's unbelievable. Like I was in shock. Like when I exported it off of my computer that I took with me, I have another computer here at my house where I put it on and I analyze it further through studio reference monitors where I can hear it better, and I can alter the frequencies to be able to take out background noise and things like that to really hear what they're saying and to make sure that it wasn't us. And I can compare through other camera audio and audio recorders to make sure that it's clearly something that was not able to be seen and not us, you know what I mean? So it's like we go beyond beyond anything that we can do to really try to debunk it being us before we classify it as an EVP. But yeah, it was multiple people during these sessions that we did that were speaking to us.
That's pretty neat. I guess even grown-ups like nursery rhymes and songs.
Yeah, it was weird. There's one in particular I don't want to give it away because, like I said, I'm working so hard on this video to really present everything in one bunch and keep it. So, you know, I can't wait for you guys to see it. I really can't.
I'd like to see it now that I know you got that many EVPs. That's really impressive.
I'm telling you, if you guys get a chance to go, it's in Columbia, Pennsylvania. The owner, Amy, she owns Ghost Tours on Locust, and she can really work with your schedule to try to make it work for when you're wanting to get in there. And she's a great investigator as well. She'll take you on a private tour, and she'll make sure that you get the full experience while you're there.
It's always good to have a good tour guide or someone.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Or that if you have an experience, you can kind of fact check with them and they can verify like that's, you know, probably is what you had, that experience is, you know.
Yeah, real. Absolutely.
Amanda asked, what got you fascinated with paranormal?
I grew up in 2 separate houses that had hauntings, and I absolutely hated paranormal. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was terrified of it. I saw, when I was a kid, I was sleeping. I remember it clearly. I was on the top bunk of a bunk bed in my grandmom's house, and that's where we were staying at the time. Long story short, my aunt was almost murdered by a guy that was going to her church when I was a kid.
Well, and crazy.
This is off topic, but I'll explain why everybody was in this house. He stabbed her like 40 some times, and it was horrific. She's even on an episode of Forensic Files for her story, but they didn't find the guy right away. So my family, including my aunt, my cousin, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, we were all living in one house because they couldn't find this guy for a long time. And I was on the top bunk with my brother and my cousin in the room. And if I looked out the window, you could see like an above ground pool way back by the woods. And I saw a shadow man walk from the woods from in front of the pool. And I'm like, I'm a kid at this point. I'm probably 6 or 7 years old. But I remember it because it was like one of those things that just like stuck with you. It wasn't normal. Yeah. And I remember I pushed the curtain back and I looked back out and it was standing at my window. And that's when I realized I'm not sleeping. I'm awake. And I told my parents and everything, and they're like, don't worry about it. Well, after that, my parents, I started realizing, even at that age, they were having experiences too. I had just never caught on to them. In this house, I remember, for an example, one time my mom was watching my cousin, and she came running into the living room, and she said, Uncle Robert, which is my dad, Uncle Robert's hiding behind the trash can. Well, my dad was at work. It was just my mom, my cousin, and me. And I was like, too young to even comprehend it. Once again, I'm like, oh, Dad's just in the kitchen. Well, my dad comes home and he searches the house, nobody's there. And then those kind of things just started, really clicking with me, even up until like I hit about like 11 or 12. I remember just still these weird occurrences with just more than one family member. It was like my grandmother, my dad, even myself, my brother. We all just started really just being a little more open with what was going on. And fast forward to about probably 3 years from there, we moved into the house where my parents still live now in Delaware. And the first night we were there, I had a friend tell me that somebody hung themselves in my bedroom. And that we couldn't find out. But was really odd to me was when we moved in, I actually found a noose in the crawl space, and I never even thought twice about what it was. And then the guy that lived there at the time, his son died in a car accident, literally like 3 houses down from the house that he was living in, which is where my parents live now, from what we were told. I saw, which is not even, it doesn't even make sense to me because I don't know where the heck this came into play. But the first night we were sleeping there, I had nothing in my room but a recliner. And I'm on the second floor. If I'm looking straight ahead to my right, there was like a diamond shaped mirror. And you could see from the reflection into a closet. And it's a decent size, decent. Well, I had, like I said, piles of boxes, nothing but a recliner in the room. I didn't even have like a curtain. It was like a mini blind. There wasn't even like a curtain on the window, and there's a street light outside and light could come in. So it was like illuminated in the room, but still kind of dark. I'm trying to go to sleep. It's like past midnight. I remember it clearly because I remember it being so late. I'm like, man, I'm going to get like 4 hours of sleep. I'm 17 at this point. This woman is in the closet looking around the door like this, watching me through the reflection of the mirror in the chair trying to go to sleep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And instantly, it's one of those, my heart just started beating. I felt like my head was sideways. I got like the cold sweats. It was just one of those situations where I'm like, I'm going to pass out and nobody's going to find me. Like, it's just like, it's over for me right now. And I flipped the light on, but before I hit the light switch, I'm still looking at her, realizing that, you know, this is real. I'm looking at this. I watch her hands come back off the door frame, and then she pulls her head back behind the door. And I tied RCA cables around the door handle to a desk so that door didn't open the rest of the night. I was terrified. And from then on out, even still to this day, my parents still live there. They have paranormal experiences from time to time. We've had pocket doors unlock and slide completely into the door jamb. We had my uncle at the time, he's passed away now. He came and blessed the house, and a stack of DVDs flew off of the TV across the whole room, like 10 DVDs just scattered. And there was like 10 people in the room at the time. And it was just, you know, crazy experiences. It wasn't just like little things here and there. It was doors opening, things moving. I saw somebody the first day we were there. That's when I started getting into the paranormal. That's my whole story. Definitely
make you curious.
My whole story is that. That's how I got into the paranormal. When I was 17, I was like, I've been seeing this stuff my whole life. It's terrifying. How can I make this not so scary? So I started researching it. And
did you also kind of want to know that you weren't just seeing it and it was actually, you know, like,
I went to, really no lie, I got a mental evaluation when I think I was 19. I got a mental evaluation. I thought I was nuts. I swear to God, I thought I was nuts. Yeah, I got a mental evaluation. I remember I started having real bad anxiety around that age. That's why part of the reason why I did that too. I was just checking on my mental health. I was like, you know, I just got to take care of this. And I did like a little bit of counseling and just getting myself in a mindset where I'm like, I can be me and understand things. And that's when I got my mental evaluation. And they're like, nothing's wrong with you. And I'm like, so I've been seeing stuff that's actually there. And then, I mean, from the time when I was 17, like I said, I've played in bands my whole life. I was talking to you about that before we went live. But I would capture things through audio, recording music in that room. And when I would be writing music and running just a mic so I could put bits and pieces of songs together while I was recording guitar and stuff, I would capture things that weren't there and they just weren't natural. And that's from there on out. I'll be 36 this year and I'm still doing it. So
I have read a story not long ago, and there's a movie out now about it. But on Sundays I do a show, and it's called Hey Boo. But we were talking about celebrities, like paranormal celebrities that died, and their spirits are still floating around the areas that they passed away. And I did I talked about the Foo Fighters and their last album that they recorded in the house that they were in. There was supposedly like demonic activity and demonic acts that were happening there, but they weren't allowed to interview that I was, going by, and I had read before that show that I wanted to include in that because I was my person was Kurt Cobain. So I kind of wanted to touch on the Foo Fighters and what they had
Right.
gone through after
Yeah.
spirits wandering around everywhere.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
yeah, there's a movie out about it called Studio 666.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's about the house where they recorded their last album at.
I'll have to watch that.
happened.
Anything music related like that, I always try to watch it.
Yeah. If you also look up the article, it might say more stuff that's not in the movie, but the article's pretty crazy. Like, read the article about what stuff happened that they said in the interview that happened to them in that house while they were trying to record their album.
I'll definitely check it out. I don't understand why that stuff isn't talked about more. Like, these artists, they go to different locations to record and put themselves in a space that's natural to them. Like you said, like they're probably just at some normal house, and there's bands that go to like warehouses and stuff like that and set up shop and just record for a year. And it's like, I know they got to experience things. Why aren't they talking about this?
I feel like they're emotional conduits. Like a musician is an emotional conduit.
And that's what I mean by that too. Like music can be so emotional. Like when, especially like, I mean, I've always been like that. Like when I write music, like it's always been like from how I'm not, I guess it is how I'm feeling, but it's like, you know, you're speaking about things and you're speaking of things with meaning within lyrics and just music in general, like the natural vibrations. Like there's no way that doesn't, you know, kick up some kind of activity.
Yeah, and
it did for us at the mansion. So
they had asked the lady or whatever about the house and said, "Yo, this stuff's happening. Is this normal?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "You're not allowed to talk about this stuff." And she told them and disclosed some information about the past
wow.
of the house, and they weren't allowed to talk about it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so hopefully it's in the movie. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I'd like to. So
I'm gonna have to watch that.
Isn't it crazy that you turn like something, you know, that you're almost like deathly afraid of into something you're passionate about?
Yeah, it really is, man. Because like I said, I was like, as a kid, any kid really, I mean, like what kid, I can't imagine a kid seeing these things. It's like not being scary unless they got like a little mini me of them running around with them just playing toys. Like I was seeing freaking shadow people and stuff. I'm like, who thinks that's normal when you're a kid? Like it just wasn't natural to me. And it was scary as you know, I just needed not even closure. I just needed to know that like I wasn't going to have to like fear these things for like the rest of my life, because I knew I could see stuff now, and I knew I wasn't the only one that was seeing things after I started researching, and then my parents opening up about what they had experienced. And then I just never really talked about it openly, even until a couple years ago. Like I've been investigating since I was 17, but I never really opened up publicly, even on social medias. I just never talked about it. It was just always my focus was, can I capture this? How can I present this to other people that I know? And how can I make myself not scared, or how can I understand this better, and things of that nature. So, I mean, it's just always been one of those situations where I wanted to know. It was a personal thing. And now that I know that I'm able to document these things, and I'm familiar with the different devices and procedures, and I don't know, it really fell into place, and I'm happy that I did it, because I've met so many amazing people doing this, and it's just been another story to tell, and these ones are good. So
yeah, you have a lot of different experiences, especially from a young age. Like I feel like some of mine are clouded, so I cannot exactly like retrieve them as like
see
as
what
well
was
as you did.
right. What was kind of cool for me is like I had other people to really bounce off of, because they were seeing and experiencing the same things I was.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, it was validation, and it was like the more we talked about it, the more it stuck, and the more I carried it with me. And even when we have conversations now to this day, it's like, oh yeah, like I remember that. And it's like, it just was so vivid even to this day, some of the things that we saw and experienced.
I was going to read this comment really fast. Totally agree. My first encounter, the fear is overwhelming. As I got older, I was, it's open 5 years ago, or I think it's been 5 years ago, we got a latch on this thing. It was awful. It dug me so hard one afternoon. It winded me. I fell down the stairs trying to flee. My dog would not enter the house. I've never seen a dog so distressed. We got a cleansing. I'm not sure. cleansing for 2 weeks. Then it ceased for 2 weeks and then it escalated. I packed up and never entered that house. My daughter thought I was just till it started messing with her. I guess she thought her mom was crazy.
Oh, wow.
Messing with her too.
Yeah.
That'll do it, I guess.
I understand completely. Like, it's just, you hit a situation like that is overwhelming.
You doubt me, I showed you.
Yeah, like it's not something, especially like hers, like you can't process that like right away. And then when you open up to people, sometimes it's hard to, get somebody to understand what you experience without them physically experiencing it. So I feel for you.
Like you said, I didn't realize I was different from everyone until I was older. I think that's what we all feel like at first.
Yeah. So we're the normal people now.
We're the uncrazy people.
Yeah. We're proven not crazy now. We can document these things now.
Yeah, when you're talking about that shadow figure coming across, out of the woods and pulled into your window, those kind of things. I wonder, are they doing it when they're not being seen by somebody, or do they know that somebody's there? I can, I'm gonna scare them.
That's kind of what I took out of it, because it was like, it wasn't even like there was any kind of like malevolence to it. It was just the fear, because I knew it shouldn't be there. It was like one of those things like, that's there and that shouldn't be. So
yeah, exactly.
Yes, we are the normal people. It is kind of like the norm now, I guess. It really is.
Yeah.
More mainstream. Yeah.
Well, that's just it. These things are getting talked about more in the mainstream, and it's
it's more accepted now.
Yeah, there are more actual like legitimate news, stations that are covering, UFO things or whatever.
That's funny you said that. We just had a local news, and it's like they do it around Halloween every now and then. Like they'll talk about like local areas with like the history like of like a haunting or something like that, and they'll talk about doing like a ghost tour and stuff like that. It's just something they always do on our local news here in Maryland. But they just recently showed someplace, I know it was in Princess Anne, Maryland, but they were talking about this location. They're like, oh yeah, and Mr. Joe is said to still haunt there. I'm like, dude, it's March. Like, they're just talking about ghosts on this random news story. It was like, I was in tears laughing and so excited for it. It was awesome. Funny. Yeah.
I think there's so many paranormal podcasts right now, though. I don't know how many I follow, but I've never seen more podcasts of like a certain.
Oh my God, I know, I love it. Yeah. I really do. It's like
crazy.
I look out, like I look beyond like even like local friends, like not even local, but just like groups of friends that like I associate with, and like I look for other people that I don't know. They even try to see like what they're doing, because like I just enjoy it so much. I just want to experience any little bit of paranormal talk that I can. It's just I don't know. Maybe you'll hit a conversation that you've never had before. So I just really enjoy.
I've
enjoy
a lot from podcasts.
Yeah, I've done a few. I did a lot last year. I've done a couple this year, but every time I do one, it's cool because I get to interact with people that I didn't know before that experience similar things to my situations, and I just really like it. It's
I do too.
I don't know.
In the cryptid encounters, I like when you stumble across a really good cryptid podcast. Or something too. Like even on television, there's some good cryptid shows.
Yeah, we like watching. I really like Josh Gates. He does some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
But he did the C&O Canal is not far from here. There's a whole like path. It's miles long of lock houses. And I think it was during it was either during the Civil War or the Revolutionary War. There was like a whole area where like they took like hold in a couple of the cabins on the water, and a couple of them are haunted. They did a whole segment of all these lock houses in like the area, and the Paw Paw Tunnel. That's not too far from us, but we had planned to go there recently, but it's just been so darn cold. I told my fiance, I was like, let's wait till like fall. So
I've actually seen a lot of people going on investigations like in the last week or two, and it's so cold, and they're like,
oh, when we slept in the Samuel Miller Mansion. It was 23 degrees that night, and there was no heat except for one room.
Yeah, we've been there.
Yeah,
we've definitely slept and
not there, but we've been somewhere where you're freezing and you're sleeping, you're sitting up in your sleeping bag, and you're like wearing coveralls, and you're like got coffee, and you're like just making lots of coffee to stay warm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and there's no heat and even no electric unless you run an extension cord to a building
that external. Was we had one room. We ran an extension cord from, they call it like the shop area. On the second floor. We ran an extension cord from there into the main room where we were investigating, and then we scattered all of our other equipment throughout the second half of the building. But that was like the only real area with any kind of electricity besides the first floor, where the art and print shop is there active now. They own that business on the first floor. The rest of it is just like freaking 1920 right now, so it hasn't been touched. So it's like not even close to being restored. It's you step on a board and it looks like it's snowing on an IR.
From dust.
Yes, yeah.
That's funny. I like to ask the people that if they have a work location in the haunted location, because there's several of them that'll have an office or something that they actually run business out of. What their experiences are too, because it's fun to hear like things that they've dealt with or things that have happened to them or scared them while they're working there at that place.
Oh, I gotta say hi to my buddy Sean Daniel. I see you down there, man.
He said
that's a great investigator. That's my dude right there.
It sounds like an interesting thing that they're about to do. We're going.
He's I tell you, that's another investigator you guys should interview. He's got a lot of stories to tell.
His name down. That's interesting. He's going to go on a boat off the grid.
Yeah, cool. He does a lot of stuff in Pensacola, Florida. He's got a YouTube channel with dozens of videos on it.
That's cool.
Mine started with, she's from UK too, I'm pretty sure she said. Welcome from UK. We like all of the foreign visitors that come to watch our show too. Thank you. We appreciate it, because it's like 2 a.m. there, I think.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it is.
2:30 in the morning there. Mine started with waking up very young, feeling terrified. Couldn't move about for help, but wouldn't open my eyes. I knew something was there. I'd flee to my mom, and she'd put me back to bed. Bad dreams. They only stopped after the latch on. Is the latch on like this thing actually grabbed you? Because I'm wondering.
Wow.
Last one, and that's even more scary. Them times used to terrify me. I'm more open now, and I know I'm not nuts.
Yeah, you're not nuts. That's for sure. That's scary.
Those things are crazy. It's like when you talked about people earlier, said, people experiencing the same things as you.
Yeah.
That goes back to like when you talk about like different phenomenon, as far as like everybody experiencing some sort of like same entity.
Yes.
Like the Hat Man, or something.
Absolutely.
It's crazy when you read about those encounters, because it's all, they all describe the same kind of thing.
Exactly. Like the descriptions are so similar to each other. It's like there's definitely, regardless of there being, even if there wasn't any physical documentation, like video or a picture or anything like that, the stories alone, these people don't know each other, and they're describing the same exact thing.
Yeah, that's the weird coincidences.
Exactly. That's what, to me, makes it more than just a coincidence. Like there's definitely fact to stories when you put them together.
Your friend said thank you.
No problem, man.
Now my outlet mall is haunted.
That's cool.
Where's your outlet mall?
Yeah, I want to go.
Where are you located again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been seeing more about this too. She said something about the Hat Man. I've been seeing more and hearing more people talk about the Hat Man recently.
That's really scary to me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen anything like that. I mean, most of like the things that I've seen, like I said, the woman that was watching me sleep, and then like the shadow that walked up from the woods at my grandma's when I was a kid. Like, those are really the most memorable. Besides, that was another one. I didn't even talk about this one. We had another experience. I was with multiple friends at this point. We were investigating. I was young. This was before I knew what I was doing at all. We were just in this area in the woods where two kids had drowned by a pond. And they drowned in the pond. They got stuck in a box spring that somebody had dumped in this pond.
Oh my goodness.
And it was just a horrific story. And it was legit. Like, it was documented and everything. Even like the neighbors around us at the time, they're like, oh yeah, that happened. I remember that. And we saw it was at a distance. So I can't really describe exactly what she looked like, but we saw late at night, one night we were back there just talking, if there's anybody here, I was young. I was probably only 14 or 15 years old. And we saw this girl. It was clearly a girl, all white. She walked up like an embankment next to the pond on the very far end and ducked behind a tree real quick. And we walked over there and nobody was there. So that was another experience I had when I was young as well. But that was with multiple people back there.
Mm-hmm. Did you think it was a real person at first?
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was because I never saw it. It wasn't anything like we didn't see her come up out of the water. It wasn't like a movie or nothing. It was just
nothing shocking. Just
it was like I just saw. It was it felt like forever, but I'm sure it was only like 2 or 3 seconds. I just saw a couple steps up a hill behind a tree, and we walked over there. And nobody was there.
Yeah, I feel like my most incredible visual, with my naked eyes seeing a spirit, was one that I thought was a person.
Was it really?
Stopped to get out of my car and help them because they were bleeding.
Oh my gosh!
I thought that I was going to have to call 911, and
wow.
Then they vanished, and I was like, "What just happened?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this person's head's cracked open. Oh my gosh, what do I do? What do I do? I need to call 911 and check on this person and make sure that they're, okay." And I get out of my car.
Gosh.
Oh, they're gone.
And see, not everybody will ever understand that because not everybody sees these things, and they are, I believe it. Like, I've seen things that I probably will never see again in my life. Like, even what I've seen, I'm aware that they're rare. Like, I'm shocked that I've seen this much already. But what you've seen, I just think that it really takes somebody seeing it for them to believe it, regardless if they believe in paranormal or not, because it's so vivid and real. Like you said, like you were there, like about to attend to their injuries. Like, that's kind of how I felt when I saw the woman in the closet. Like, it was plain as day. I thought somebody was in my house. So
there's a robber and she's in my closet.
There's nothing in there yet. It's still empty. Yeah.
That's funny. My Letterman jacket?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you can have it. Just leave.
Right.
It's a good thing it wasn't a person, though, because if you tied him and locked him in the closet, it might
not be. Oh, I looked behind the door. I turned the light on, and because the door doesn't swing into the room, it swings into the closet. So I was able to like pull it back and look behind the door, and then I turned the light on in there too, and I slammed the door closed and took RCA cables and wrapped them up to my desk. So
yeah. Can you imagine though? I thought you were a ghost.
Yeah, I know. Like that conversation would have been completely, right. I almost wish that would have been the case. Now, as cool as it is now, it was terrifying back then. But I don't know. Like that still gets me sometimes. Like I've always had ever since then a weird thing with mirrors. Like if I walk in, even in my house now,
mirrors either.
It's I don't know, I just look in them every now and then. I'm like, I remember it just like it was yesterday. I'm like, nope, don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like sleeping in a place where mirrors are facing.
Yeah,
And I don't think it was like a thing that I was consciously aware of until I just feel like someone's watching me, and then I notice that there are mirrors, and then that's kind of odd. And I'm like,
right, right.
Can I just turn these all over or cover them with a sheet?
Exactly. Throw a blanket
like
over them
that,
or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me of like the Boogeyman story, or like a story from when I was younger about Cameron's Closet. It's probably not anything y'all have seen, but there was a scary movie called Cameron's Closet, and it was one of the first movies ever about a monster or boogeyman in a closet.
Oh no!
In the 90s or the late 80s, probably.
I'll have to check it out. I like weird movies. Like when I was growing up as a kid, I never got to watch them until I was probably like maybe 12 or 13. I remember I watched my first scary movie, and it was like it was a bad one at the time too. I think my parents let me watch The Shining.
Oh my gosh.
Oh God, it was bad because like I'd never seen anything like that. It was just,
and you see like all these ghosts popping up in those twins.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I wasn't about that life back then.
Yeah. And the crazy guy, because he was really crazy. You
know? Oh yeah, yeah.
He wasn't a ghost. He was
exactly.
real. And he was crazy. Yeah, I really liked the remake of it too. I liked the Dr. Sleep show. Maybe
yeah,
it was pretty cool the way that they did it.
Yeah.
Classic. Have you ever? Were you going to say something, Jason?
I was just going to say that movie's classic. I love that movie.
Absolutely, yeah. I agree.
Have you ever? And I know everyone asks people this, but I like to know from our personal experience because I've heard it talked more about lately. Like I hear it talked about all the time, but I mean like every single day.
Yeah,
I hear it talked about, and I'm like, what can we do to get rid of this problem? It's like COVID, but it's attachments.
Right.
Have you dealt with attachments?
I don't think I've ever physically had something like an attachment. Mm-hmm. I know I've had something very similar to what would be following you home. We've had, but we also, the house that we bought, the guy that lived here died right before we bought it, but he didn't die in the house. But we still have weird situations where I'm like, that was probably him. And I just leave it alone. Yeah. There's been times where we just vocalize and say, hey, if you're here, you're not welcome. Sorry. This is our home. You got to leave, respect our space, respect us. That's more or less all I've really had to deal with as far as that. I've never had a real attachment. We're very consistent with when we leave locations. We thank them. We openly thank whoever's here. Thank you for communicating with us. We hope that we were respectful. We hope that we can come back and visit your location again and spend time with you. And we ask you to stay here and not follow us home. That's typically what we say when we leave.
I think that's a good way to say it because then I think that they would feel like they would understand it better.
Absolutely. We did deal with an attachment case. We dealt with one that was pretty severe that was going on for a long time. Mm-hmm. And once she got comfortable with vocalizing and standing her ground, more or less just saying, this is my house. Stop doing this. You're not allowed to do this. Respect me like I would respect you as a human. It stopped. It completely stops. I think being stern and standing your ground and just vocalizing is a big part of taking control of whatever you have going on with any kind of situation like that, really.
Yeah. Maybe even if it's just the physical representation of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like part of the release.
Yeah.
The release ritual or something, like releasing it from you.
I agree. I agree. And just surrounding with positive energy too. I think, bringing positive energy into a negative situation, like that can completely reverse the energy that you're getting back, because if you're giving good, you get good. I just believe that.
Yeah.
I have another question and then another story. Ever caught a good get out EVP?
Not exactly get out. This one's funny. We investigated a location for 3 months last year off and on. We weren't allowed to share it because there was a change in management at the location, and they backed out after we finished all of our investigating. We captured 17 EVPs at this location. I was able to share with multiple people at the time because they were bringing in other people to investigate with us to not collaborate, but to put this location at a point where it was going to be available to investigate publicly by all investigators. We were working in that direction, and we just had enough evidence through these, couple months that we worked with the crew there and the staff that they know it's haunted, and they just don't want to do anything with it now. But we were walking up a set of stairs, and we had something smack my camera microphone as my fiance was mumbling. And clear as day, it's louder than us talking. It goes, spit it out, talking to her because she was mumbling. Yeah, it was very nasty. And then like 5 more steps up, it goes, I'm sorry.
Oh, wow.
So like,
she believes then too, probably.
Yeah.
You get to show her all of the evidence.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure she actually helps probably dig through some of it when she has spare time.
Yeah, she's co-founder of our team. It's just us. We were on a larger team prior to this, and we didn't really do a whole lot of locations that we wanted to do. We were targeting locations that had a lot of military history and more like battleground style haunts and things of that nature, which is amazing. I'm not, disregarding any of those things. We still love to do them, and we have even recently. And we're doing the Jenny Waite House in March, April, next month. Yeah, doing April, not next month. We're doing the Jenny Waite House on the 24th, I believe it is, in Gettysburg.
Yeah, and the Gettysburg House.
Yeah, but we're doing that. But we didn't really find ourselves in a position where we were able to take what would be considered our whole team to locations we wanted to do, like sanatoriums and other just locations with more negative claims, to be able to try to research more than just military history. So we founded our own team a few years ago, and we've just ever since just been going head first with whatever we can, as much as we can, and giving it our all, and showing and sharing what we can with people like you guys. So people that trust us and believe in us like we do you. So
yeah, because obviously, like everybody that we usually invite on here has been to different locations that we haven't been to yet.
Yeah,
so like they can kind of tell us, what's the hot spots. And
another location. I don't know how close you guys are. We're going back for our second time in June. We're going back to the cabin on 360. That's in Mechanicsville, Virginia. It's a cabin, and then beside the cabin is an actual murder house. It's a very, very sad story. The little girl there was murdered by her stepbrother at the age of 13.
Oh, wow.
And she's still there for sure, in my opinion, based on the EVP captures we got. We even got EVPs asking her if she's still okay. She would respond, "I'm okay." And she stays in one little location in the house, and the other investigators that run the building, they go in there and they leave her toys, and they go in there and communicate with her, but she's still there. And there's something else in the house that is a little nasty. That's in the basement. And then the cabin next door has a couple of things going on in there. I wasn't able to really figure out what, who, or, anything like that while I was there. We didn't really get a whole lot of information or EVPs like that when we were there, but we're going back and we're doing an overnight there in June. So
that's awesome. I've heard of the cabin on 360. Yeah, I guess I didn't really know that there was a murder house next to it. So that's
it's a little brick rancher right next door, and it's on the same piece of land, and the woods surrounding it, the cabin and the murder house, the Battle of Cold Harbor, that land right there was where that battle was.
That's awesome. I like to know about different battles if you're in a location, anyways. Like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They've even captured like soldier chants in the woods right behind the cabin. So there's all kinds of stuff going on there. So if you ever get to check that out, if you think that you're not getting evidence, listen to your recorder. I promise you, they are talking. You just can't hear them. Yeah. We captured a voice. We were talking about, because we couldn't figure out some of the claims with why there would be like a male presence in this certain part of the house. And we were like, well, what if somebody died on this main road out front? They just happen to linger up in here because there's spirits in here. Like what, just throwing theories. And I called an EVP that goes, this man didn't die in here. And I was like, oh, well, okay. I didn't hear it until we got home and we were reviewing, but I'm like, these are little pieces of the puzzle that I can take back with me and add to our next investigation.
Yeah. And you can actually, like identify that person and say, who's the one that didn't die in here?
Exactly.
How did you die? Or what's your name? Or something, like different questions. That's neat. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting when you can tie the piece of land to the history of like a battle or something that happened there or close by, or like the Conjuring House. A lot of people didn't really realize that there was a battle that took place up there, like in on that land. So
right. I think a lot of things play a role in different types of hauntings too. Like if they're experiencing things that aren't typically associated with the house, like things can be lingering into that location just because it's attached to the land or it's residual and on the land,
Right.
Yeah, and I think that if someone contacts you and maybe that they lived somewhere like, for example, Conjuring House, and they felt like there's a bad energy there, there's a curse, on the land. Right. If you think about it, like if there's a lot of battle deaths there's probably going to feel like some kind of curse is on that land,
the energy alone. I mean, because I always think of it like this: if something horrific were to happen like that, like for an example, like the battle stuff, like you guys are talking about, that's horrific. Like that's all bad. Like that's not anything where they just, happily going down the road and get into an accident. Like,
or they died in their bed.
Like it's a completely different type of energy. Like that mindset, even when they died, like they were in a mindset like of negative things at that time,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and they might have been, like really in like battle mode, and they
that way, exactly
mode or something, like
exactly high energy and tension, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I imagine. Like because we haven't been able to get to Gettysburg yet, but I would imagine that you could probably pick up on that sort of energy.
If you guys make it to Gettysburg, I highly recommend. It's not talked about frequently. It's called the Battlefield Bed and Breakfast. There are several haunts in that building. I stayed there in 2014 or 2015 and investigated the barn, and it's got some stuff going on. So I never see people investigating it, but if you stay, I really recommend going in the off season, like February, and just renting a room, get the second floor. That was more active for us, and then ask to see if you can visit the barn, and that's where we got a lot of stuff.
Wow!
I think I might have seen somebody on YouTube, like a video of that barn, like quite a while back or something. Like I vaguely remember. I think
it's a really neat area.
Amanda said, another experience I had buying my first home arrived. The guy was there to show me around. I got as far as the doorstep and wouldn't go in. The poor guy asked if I was okay. I managed to say, I feel like someone was hung in this hallway. In the hallway, the guy said, it's up for sale and so cheap. The guy who owned it had committed suicide and they found him hung in the hallway. I was shocked. I felt it.
Oh, wow.
That's neat when that happens. I love it when that happens.
Yeah.
Not that they hung themselves, but when you're like saying something like that and
exactly
and it's verified, and just like it's like I don't know, it's just like important to me.
Yeah, as validation to what you're feeling, that's for sure. It can't get any more clear than that,
I bought a house that was on a ley line, the negative end of a vortex, and it was haunted. I never moved in. I sold it.
Oh, jeez.
That's probably a smart idea. I feel like that would be a lot of work to remove that kind of stuff going on. It would be a lot of work.
Absolutely.
Symmetry is a resting place for and I think that has happened so much in the past. It's just crazy.
Yeah, we have a lot of this is kind of sad. There's an area about 20 minutes from my house. It's called Blackwater Refuge, just outside of Cambridge, Maryland. There's graves out there dating back to the 1700s that are just literally in swamp now. It's just the whole area is just swamp, and it's just consuming all of these old graves. Some are completely underwater, some are on the side of the road. They're just everywhere. I mean, probably close to 300 of them, just in little plots everywhere, all through that area.
Wow.
Yeah, if they ever resurfaced, I imagine they'd have some kind of weird weather and damage from that.
Oh yeah, we get hurricanes about every 6 years or so. We'll get 6 or 7 years. We'll get a nasty storm. We get a lot of nor'easters here. We're on like the Delmarva Peninsula, so like we're as far east as you can go without hitting water. If we go either direction about an hour, we're hitting either bay or ocean. So
yeah, that might be a really good area to be in as far as like how much water movement can create or generate activity.
Oh yeah,
especially if there's hurricanes and stuff.
Yeah, it's a neat area. It gets a little weird with paranormal stuff. A lot of the locations around here, people are not open to it, and I do not know why. They just aren't. Like I've
folks, or
yeah, it's like that. But like I try to work with the local historical societies, like as opposed to just like calling and seeing like if shop owners will let us in and things like that. But even recently, like I talked to Somerset County Historical Society, the lady that runs that just called me back yesterday, I think it was, and started giving me bits and pieces of information finally about some of the locations that would be open to doing these investigations and helping them document and promote just history in general. And
yeah,
it's just, I don't know, something I've always cared about is just the paranormal and the history of it. Like I like documenting and learning about both sides of those. And I think it's a good approach with reaching out to some of the locations because, I mean, if they're, on a historical registry, they're not going to want their image portrayed as, just this haunted location. If you give them something to go off of, like, we'll present your location respectfully. And if there is something here, we'll add that in. Like, I think that's a good way to go about it. And it's working for us. Hopefully we'll move in a good direction now, finally.
Yeah. Sometimes it is a little crazy when you talk about the people who have these locations who don't want anything to do with anything paranormal.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Even they have documented cases of things that are paranormal. They're just like, nope, we don't want nothing.
Exactly. Exactly. That's like the Samuel Mudd House. That's right across the Bay Bridge from us. They don't allow paranormal investigations anymore. And that was a really historical place that allowed it all the time just about 5 years ago.
Wow.
Have you heard of this place that he's talking about? He said about an hour and a half away from Gettysburg. I feel like I have, but I didn't really know what was close to Gettysburg. It was called Kecksburg, where there was a reported alien spaceship that crashed in the 60s, Adam said.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I haven't heard about that.
That'd be somewhere to check out if someone goes to Gettysburg to check that out, too.
Yeah, there's been documentaries on that place before about the crash that happened there, supposedly.
What about Jason's hair? No.
Oh, Howard's in here. I just saw Howard pop up. What's up, man?
Yeah. No, Howard.
Hey, guys. Lori said, I live in the Bible Belt of South Carolina. I had to change my name for podcasts so that people don't come and spray my house.
Oh, my gosh.
That's crazy. But I totally understand that because I don't know. A lot of people don't know that. But Rosie Page is not my real name either.
Okay.
Yeah, I created this Facebook to get away from some bad stuff going on my regular Facebook.
Gotcha.
People started running into me and saying, "Hey, Rosie Page," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
You guys have my support, so.
I was like, I guess I'll just, like have kind of like a, what do they call it, like a public figure named Rosie Page.
Yeah. Yeah.
It works. I still go with it. It's been 2 years now, so.
That's cool.
And I can't get in my other Facebook anyways. It won't let me back into it. And I even did facial recognition, so I
shoot.
like being this one.
Oh wow.
He said, "What's up, my brother?"
It's crazy because you talk about the locations who don't embrace that thing, but if they're talking about if it's a historical place and they want to put money back in the building, it's a perfect way to make money if they want to charge, whatever for paranormal teams to come in there. Like
absolutely, and like that's the thing that like I try to describe. I mean, I express that to some of these locations. Like, I know enough people that would investigate in a respectful manner that, I mean, it would definitely get spotlight and it would get more income to put into these locations, and they're just like, nope, what, no parts of it.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of times, especially in like such a long stagnant period as right now,
Yeah.
and period of like hands changing, because people probably have quit during the pandemic and they closed the place down and they moved on somewhere else. And new people came in and they didn't know every tiny detail about that place. So if you came in and helped lend them richness of the building history and like the history of the location, it would actually help them more if you just did it privately and you were like, I'm not trying to like gain money off of this location. I promise. I want to gain the knowledge and the experience and then help give it to you, you know, share it.
And see, like, that's another thing too, is like, it's weird for me when we can't get into a historical location, because I work with land records. Like, that's what I do for a living. It's like, I work in municipal buildings and county offices and courthouses weekly. It's like, I'm not this random guy coming off of the street with a Ouija board just wanting to run around in your basement. Like, no offense to people that do that. It's like, no offense to people that do that, but it's like,
I get it.
What I'm doing isn't for just fun sometimes. Like, I really enjoy documenting history and proving and disproving claims of paranormal activity.
Right.
And that it's still like, I just have bad luck, I guess. Oh no. Hey, I apologize too if you guys hear me getting stuffy. I've been fighting a cold for like a week. So
yeah, we've been doing that too.
Yeah.
Not mostly myself, but like my kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you ever find and stumble upon doing the job that you do, if someone does let you walk around and like, you know, look, get extra experience on location, do you ever find stuff that you didn't know doing the job that you do after you've done that?
Yeah, like we a lot of the times, like when we research with, especially like with what I do, like a lot of the times that I find locations is through pulling like the record of the building to make sure there's no liens on a property before it sells, or if somebody gets a divorce and the property is being split, I get to read the documents to see how far it goes back, to see once again if people owe money on it, things of that nature. So you get to read bits and pieces of history as you're trying to find these things that these clients need. So it's like, I learn as I'm working, and then I can build some sort of history just off of working almost weekly. So
yeah, like you get an extra, like you're like the inside scoop guy, you know, like, or the behind the scenes guy.
Yeah.
Like you might get a little bit of extra nuggets that some people might not get.
Yeah, I think Rosie turned into a robot.
Oh,
I think your mic went out on you.
My mic?
Yeah, I think your mic went out.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
It still sounds like a robot.
Darn it. I'm going to go out.
I don't know. Yeah. Just hop back out, hop back in. Maybe that'll clear it up.
Uh-oh. Maybe it's me.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Okay, so maybe it's my mic.
Can you hear me, Jason?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me make sure it's not this charger kicking feedback.
Not more of these technical difficulties, for real.
Yeah, it's live, so that's how it goes.
Yep.
I think it is me, guys.
Do you want to go out and come back in?
Yeah, give me 1 second. If it kicks it back on. Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll jump back in.
Okay. This happened last night too.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yes, for real, right?
Yeah.
Minions had play, and then
sometimes it's weird. Yeah. we've dealt with some interesting technical difficulties in the past before.
Yeah, we've had some really weird ones, especially in the first few episodes, like when we first started. Remember?
Yeah. It's been kind
That
of weird.
was.
I don't know, weird, crazy. I don't know.
You know, we should do when we have a next opening and a year in, like bloopers.
Yeah, I mean, because there's some,
A
the
year in
classic.
bloopers and a year in technical difficulties.
Yeah, it's funny.
There we go. All right, I can hear now.
Wrong way.
I don't know what happened. It must have glitched. It sounded like everybody was a robot.
Did it?
Yeah.
We were robots, maybe.
That is weird.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Artificial intelligence, no.
Right.
Robot chickens and robot Bigfoots and that's hilarious. I was on a show on Bigfoot and the Bunny. I know that show, and they were having problems with their camera panning during interviews. And
that's cool.
Going off. I'm telling you, everybody's so playful right now. It's got to be these spirits. They're bored and
exactly.
They were like, "We're doing COVID too, you guys.
Right.
No one's suffering, and we're bored."
That's funny.
And she said, "I don't know which one he's talking about. I don't know. Don't you have red hair too? Don't you both have red hair?"
Well, I have red colored facial hair.
Yeah.
However, Howard, I am not a redhead, so
He's a redhead.
Yeah.
You ghostly friends. There's a local transformer. A vocal transformer. I can't even read. Yeah.
The Autobots got me.
Yeah.
I know. Hey, Chris Garcia, did you figure out how to get into your Facebook? I saw he said earlier he got a new phone and he could only do Facebook Messenger and he couldn't get into his Facebook account.
I just want to throw this out there while I'm thinking of it because I didn't say it earlier when we were talking about the Samuel Miller Mansion. We do have a full video of our previous investigation there on our YouTube and our Facebook page. So if anybody wants to watch that to compare what this new video had.
Which location?
It's the Samuel Miller Mansion.
I want to see it because I'm not really familiar with that area.
Yeah, we did a previous investigation there and filmed. We have a short video on our YouTube and on our Facebook page of that last investigation, and it'll probably be another week or two before I get this one put together, maybe even longer to fully compose it. But I'll post to your page to let you know when I'll have it done so you can see it.
Yeah.
If you want to put it on the Night Terror Collective page, you're more than welcome to share it on there too. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
There's a lot of people on there that'll probably watch it. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I love sharing what we find. I try to keep them short and entertaining. I don't really do very long videos. Most I think I've ever done was St. Albans Sanatorium was a 25-minute video, but I keep them short and just pack them full of all the evidence that we got. So you can really get an idea of what we experienced and what to experience when you go to some of these locations that we go to.
Howard, you never know what Howard's going to say, ever. So.
Well, I also saw that vocal robot comment, and I was like, that made me start thinking of the Intergalactic song in this band I found the other day on Facebook, and they sing about I think they're like aliens, or they're trying to draw aliens to the Earth because their songs, their name is Galactic, Gala. It's like Galactic with a K at the end, and they have music where they're dressed up like aliens.
Oh my gosh, that's funny!
And I'm like, man, this music is awesome. It reminds me of. Have you seen Contact, where at the end they're going to launch that alien spacecraft that they got the technology from? That Jodie.
Yeah.
Is it Jodie Foster?
Yeah.
I think it's her. That she's there, and when she's going to watch it, and they have all these people dressed like aliens, and they're like, "Spirit inside, come on. We come in peace. You come in peace. Let's all be groovy together." Really think of
that. Going back to that for a second, does your music play into anything you do as far as trying to do something different rhythm wise as far as paranormal related things, or have you written anything about like a ghost or anything like that? Just curious.
Not necessarily. I used to write things with different emotions to see what kind of responses I would get, though. I would do that. Like I would write things that were more melodic and emotional, as opposed to like what I typically do is like hard rock and heavy metal. So it's like I was very conscientious of what was trying to interact with me at certain times, especially when I was living in my parents' house way back when. So it was like I learned a lot from that experience, what would trigger things and what would not.
I gotcha. Well, I was just curious. I was just thinking about different songs or whatever about anything paranormal related. Like Howard just actually made me think of something, because of being from New Orleans, that area. You got Marie Laveau and stuff. So I was thinking about Johnny Cash. He wrote a song about.
Oh yeah.
Just that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If it was included in your music, that's all.
Yeah. Not mine personally. We have done experiences using music from different time periods and things associated with certain areas that have triggered responses. And I think the best one we've done was this recent one. We really took our time and planned it and did so many different things, not just music, but read like stories and news articles and talked about new technology and how things were different, and really just on a very personal human level, just informing them and then reading what they would have experienced or read at that time period or listened to. I can't even express it really. It's so hard to put into words how influential it was to how our investigation turned out. So
have you ever tried sitting around a campfire, like Kumbaya style, in a location that is haunted, to see if like maybe you could get spirits sitting around there listening to your music or anything like that?
We placed a microphone and asked them to join us during certain songs. We did do that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've done that. We didn't do it specifically at this one, but we placed a microphone on a boom stand in the hallway about child height to see if we could get children spirits to sing songs with us.
That would be really awesome if you got like an EVP of that. That would be the sex.
Oh my gosh, I know, because we haven't even reviewed 4 recorders yet. I'm like, oh my god, what else could
you probably could have a treasure there.
Yeah, I'm like, what is sitting in my like recorder case right now that I don't know of?
I was gonna show this because Pamela's on here and she said, "Do you have my painting in the room with you?" We were talking about aliens. And
that's so cool.
Kind of like, see, it's kind of like a squid, and then there's like a wrong side, an alien hand, and it kind of looks like outer space, and then some celestial being. Oh, wrong side. They're falling out of the sky, and like a DNA strand.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. Pamela on here, Top Gen made that for me. Well, she made it, and I bought it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I might have to check some of her stuff out because I still have room, and my music room is what I'm sitting in right now, but there's so much bare space on my walls. I still have been extremely picky with what I hang in here. So
yeah, what's cool is you talk about that kind of stuff with your empty wall space and everything, and she just showed that pin, is that we've run across a lot of people that are artsy in different ways, and we support them and we buy their things, as whether you're drawing pictures of cryptids or whatever it is. But
exactly, I love stuff like that. It's just unique to me, and it's something that's more personal than just going to a store and just buying something just to hang there.
Right.
We have a wall in our living room, and we call it the weird wall. And it's literally.
I've seen it. Did you post a photo of it?
Yeah, it's so. I mean, we literally just hunt for things that are just old and weird. Like we have pictures of. I think we have 3 different photos on that wall from like the late 1800s of just random families that we don't even know. It's just like
that's cool,
weird old photos. It's just they're just sitting there, and we call them adopted family. That's what we call them.
It adds character, especially if you're into like creepy or macabre stuff.
Exactly. We just love old stuff. I don't know. I'm not a picky person in that nature, so
I'd be closer to
I'm gonna throw Jason under the bus too. He was in the past looking for a musician. He wrote a song and he was trying to find somebody to write music for it. So
oh shoot.
I don't know if you're still looking for somebody or you're still like interested in that, but
I love writing any kind of music.
Yeah, actually, I am. It was going to be for our YouTube intro, and then it's pretty specific to kind of what we do, and it's pretty cool. It's just I can't write music, and I'm definitely not the best singer ever. So
that's been my struggle. I'm more of a guitarist than a singer. I've always played in bands with a really good singer, but I'm just not a singer. So I'm more of especially my music. Like I do a lot of instrumental. I did music for a couple of podcasts.
I thought so.
Yeah, like I did for the 13th Dimension. I don't know. I might even have done one for Howard at one point too.
For Steven? I don't remember. You did one for Steven?
Yeah, I did. I think I sent him 6 different tracks for Steven.
I thought he told me that you did those.
Yeah. Yeah. I just love creating music. It's just always been my thing. It's not even a hobby. It's like more of a passion. That's my mental release is just music.
Right. Yeah, it's
Mine
definitely
is creating things with my hands, just whatever, jewelry, soap, paintings, whatever.
That's my fiance. Yeah. She'll ignore me for 3 days if I let her.
She's like, I'm making masterpieces here. Yeah. They're going to change the world, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely more kind of like your style. It's more it's rock and stuff, so it's pretty cool.
Oh, cool, man.
I have a vision how I want it to be. So
yeah, just and anytime, man, inbox me and I can throw some stuff together for you. And if I can work with your ideas and bounce back and forth to try to get it to how you want it.
I think Howard looks like he wants one too. He wants something too. Probably for an intro for some kind of show or something.
I got you, Howard.
Howard and Jason. There you go. You got 2.
There you go. Yeah.
Inspirations
for new projects if you have time for music.
I always have time for music. I play, even if it's for 15 minutes, I pick up something and I play it. I
saw them and that's what made me think about Jason's music.
I have nine guitars sitting around me right now. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, my walls are, I'll show you. Hold on. Like there's,
go ahead.
That's 4 of them.
Like 45 minutes left, so go ahead.
There's 3 more over there. That's my studio setup. There, you can see all my crap I got in the middle of laundry, and then I was like, oh my god, it's 8 o'clock. So, and then I got my favorite guitar over there. That's my 7-string. That's what I've been recording with because I can get more tones out of what I'm doing, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really paranormal related, but who is your favorite like musical influence? Who's your go-to?
Killswitch Engage was my biggest influence growing up. That was
nobody knows who they are here.
Yeah, the Killswitch was my biggest influence, especially in like my later teen years. I don't know, not even later teen years. Like I remember listening to Killswitch when I was like 15. So it's like I don't know, that band just really inspired me to be a better musician on so many freaking levels. It was just like,
did you see them concert?
Yeah, I saw them, All That Remains, and
The Remains. I haven't seen them.
I killed the Prom Queen out of all bands. It was like I don't think anybody ever heard from them after their first album.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, it was. I saw all these really cool bands. My first really well-known band. We were booked for Warped Tour, and our drummer quit on stage at our CD release show. So
yes, that's
yeah. And we were booked. My other band, I used to play with Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm.
I've seen her too.
And she was a local. I used to play shows with her about every 2 weeks, and we played Davey's Suicide. He's a really well-known artist now. Back when I have video footage of me playing with Davey's Suicide when I was 13 years old.
Yeah, Yeah, oh
and
my God.
literally like on VHS, and this dude is like nuts famous now. Like, I mean, like, I can't even describe it. My brother saw him just recently in a Royal Farms in Delaware. It was like, hey, you remember Ryan? That's my brother. It was like, yeah. It's like he remembered me, but like I grew up with this dude and he's like super famous now. I don't know. A lot of the musicians that I played with did really big things, and I just hit this rut all of a sudden. And I just, I don't regret it
You
at all
weren't
because
lucky
like,
enough.
yeah, I was like, I don't regret it at all because like I got a family now.
And
I
you have
have
a
my
beautiful fiance. I've seen her
I
photo on your Facebook, and she's
I
very pretty.
have her. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
She's my blessing in disguise. It's my fiance and my daughter is just like that's my world now, and I just can't picture of leading up to this anything being any different. So I don't regret anything. So.
Oh wow.
I feel like a lot of people, they actually just commit their soul to their music career and
Yeah.
they don't actually have that, or if they do,
Yep.
it's not your picturesque. Kind of like I would say you have more of a picturesque type lifestyle and family. Like they may not have that. They're away all the time and like
right. I just can't picture that.
Musicians and like their history, like Chris Cornell and like Chester Bennington. Like I researched them a lot and I really looked up to them a lot, but they didn't end their lives very well, and they had all these children left behind. It's so sad.
That was the one that got me the most. Chester Bennington. That hit me so hard as a musician because that was around the time when they got famous. That was one of my first cover songs. I won a 2-day music festival. My band won first place in a 2-day music festival when I was 13. And one of the songs we covered was what's this? It's I'm About to Break. It's that very first song that they came out with. That was one of the first songs we did, but like
that makes me just want to sing.
Anyway, I'll stop ranting about music, but like that was like everything with music I tried to apply to the paranormal just to see if we could get any kind of response. I mean, when you really think about it, like who didn't like music? Like that's probably a big part of their life back then. They didn't have for some of these time periods, they didn't have like the normal things like we do today, like a computer or cell phones or iPads, and they didn't have that. Like you had people playing real.
Think about that, but they had
they were used to. They were used to. Yeah, I know, right? It's like
record players is like the best.
Yeah, I just those things just always intrigue me. So any chance I get to apply music to anything, I go for it.
I do feel like way back in the day, like, 50s and 60s, they might not have had the, like, sometimes if you dug and you found out all the dirt on, like, Marilyn Monroe or, whoever, Blue Eyes, they might have had some stuff that you wouldn't expect to go on, but I don't feel like it was anything like in the, more recent years.
Exactly.
Of rock and roll and the music scene or whatnot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, Howard said, "When are you getting married? My funeral. I mean, my wedding is May 22nd." It's funny.
We talked about it frequently. The whole reason why we held off for so long was because she was in school for so long, and I was the only one working. It was like I was so focused on paying bills and letting her build herself up to pursue a career that it was like taking care of my daughter and supporting my family was like my priority. It was like a wedding was never even a question. We both knew we wanted it, but it just right not then and there because this was priority first.
Yeah. Well, you still have all your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous that Pamela saw Aerosmith. I've always wanted to see them. I've never seen them.
Yeah, I never saw them. I saw Joan Jett 3 times by accident.
That would be awesome.
Complete accident. I saw her at HF Festival. I saw her at it was like Metallica Festival that they used to do with like Mudvayne and Limp Bizkit and everybody.
Yeah, I remember
Linkin Park too. I saw Linkin Park back then too, but It was like I saw her there, and then I saw her at Asia Festival, and I saw her at a Def Leppard concert when I was like 14. It was like all 3 times were by accident.
Yeah, that would have been interesting, like a mix of like music, her and Def Leppard.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I guess it's close to the same genre time.
Yeah, hers was like extremely not what I was used to.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
That's interesting. I like also researching hauntings that are tied to, you know, bands and passed away musicians. I like really researching stuff like that. And I would like to, you know, be able to go to some locations that those.
I've always wanted to go to the bar where Dimebag Darrell got shot on stage. That's one of my biggest ones. If I were to get the chance to go to any location where a musician had passed, that would definitely be one of them.
Yeah, I've heard several people talk about that place.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then, is it River Phoenix? He's not a musician, but River Phoenix, where he passed away, it was like a big hot spot.
Oh, was it really?
Paranormal Activity, yeah.
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 It's interesting.
Yeah, I would like to go where Chris Cornell killed himself. There's a hotel room that's like avidly sought after.
Oh, really?
I would like to go there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I think that would be really cool.
It was like erotic asphyxiation, wasn't it? What am I thinking of?
He had a big, massive cocktail of all kinds of things.
Well, that was that. Well, who am I thinking of? There was a musician that was like past couple of years that was really well known that happened to, and I was like, never would have guessed it.
Tom Petty?
What's that?
No, Tom Petty and Prince died not that long ago, didn't they?
Yeah, I can't remember who exactly it was, but when I saw it, it was like my jaw hit the floor. I'm like, really? Like, what?
I mean, that kind of sounds like Prince. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that totally sounds like Prince.
It was totally lush, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and then I would like to go where Kurt Cobain passed away and Courtney Love had part of the building that he haunted knocked off of their house. Like she had it.
Oh, no.
And taken off the house because he was haunting that area where he was found. And then she finally moved out of that house. I think that would be a pretty cool place. You're from Indonesia. How are you? What time is it there in Indonesia? I don't really know.
It's got to be late or early.
Yeah. Renzi? It's some Motley Crue Dr. Feelgood concert in Gulfport, Mississippi. That'd be a high energy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So have you, like you said that you haven't went through the EVPs or whatever of like, you know, the Kumbaya session, I'll call it.
Yeah, I've got 4 left. We did go through the EVPs for the mics that were stationary with my studio software that I took with me to try mics that would capture different frequencies. Those alone are the ones that I will say were greater than 10 to 15. I know it was greater than 15.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's so lucky. Like that's a really good.
I've never in my life. I even told my fiance when I got done reviewing it, I looked at her and I was like, I've never even heard of this many before. And I told her, I was like, I literally feel like people are going to look at me and go, that's bullshit. Like.
Maybe though it also helps. Like, do you have super sensitive and really good microphones and stuff?
Yeah, like I mean, some of them are for miking guitar cabs, so I mean they pick up different frequencies, like the super highs and lows. So I don't know if that played a role in it. I think it did because I mean, all 3 microphones were different. We had them stationary in a area around one room. We had multiple cameras running, so we were able to debunk anybody else talking. So. It was just one of those things where it was like I'm listening, even at one point, like you'll see the video, like I'm listening live and I'm marking them as I'm hearing them out loud. Yeah. Wow. It was just so crazy.
Yeah, it seemed like a really good like a really good setup and situation that since you like music so much and you have extra, you know, microphones that are like good quality and then you have where to make to go back and, you know, like I'd say like comb through, you know, like the evidence that you have like a really good setup to find more EVPs maybe than someone normally would with just whatever.
I think a good way, like I always tell people, like a good way to listen and try to review any kind of audio evidence is through something that has good quality, whether it be like if you don't have a good set of headphones, see if you have a good speaker and plug it with an auxiliary and blast it. Like you'll capture something that you didn't hear, even if you don't hear it on your headphones that you think are good. Listen on another device because it might not be emitting the same frequency through what you're listening to.
Yeah, I guess I never thought of that, but now that we're talking about it, like that sounds like good advice and like good stuff to know.
I learned it the hard way because I always listened on headphones, and then once I got my studio software, once we moved into here, I got everything set up, and I got my new computer, and I started comparing through my studio reference monitors and headphones, and I started hearing things on my reference monitors that I wasn't in my headphones, and vice versa. So I was like, maybe there's something to this. So I do it all the time now.
We had a question. Howard asked, have you ever received any EVPs or your speakers, but you just were saying like maybe if you use a speaker and you blast it?
I have not. I used to pick up radio stations in my amp all the time, though. Yeah, that was weird because like a guitar amp, it just, I guess the pickups in the guitar just naturally picks up different frequencies, and if you get close enough or on a certain angle next to an amplifier, it's gonna pick up something, and it did. I mean, I used to get straight up radio stations on my amp.
Yeah, that's crazy. You might be, get spirit communication too on accident that way. Yeah. Yeah, like there's some pieces of equipment that we've talked to Dee's Ghost God in the Dee's Ghost store, and he has
Oh, really?
Yeah, he has a spirit box that's hacked, and it's made to emit, or it's made to be used for the lower frequency stations that you normally don't use and that you don't receive. Like if you were going through your radio, there's like in the beginning, there's some of those stations that aren't nothing broadcast to, and it picks up those stations so that you can use those to try to experiment and see if you can get spirits to communicate on those stations, because then it's more likely that there's not some kind of frequency being emitted that's actually probably a spirit.
Well, that's a pretty cool theory because, like, I mean, especially if nothing's being broadcasted over it too.
Yeah, then you might be like, "Wow, that wasn't Johnny Cash. That was a spirit."
Exactly.
It wasn't. It wasn't Prince. It was a spirit. Yeah. Have you ever heard one of your guitars being played without touching it, like the string?
I've heard a string get plucked before. I have heard that. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's really weird because, like, when I heard it, it was on an acoustic guitar too, which is even harder. I had it sitting on it was like a day bed that I had in the room where my parents live. And I remember I was packing to go to a show, and I heard the string get plucked one time, and it was laying flat on the bed. Nothing was near it.
And you can't really like mistake that sound for something.
Yeah, I told, I don't know. I just told myself that maybe like a bug flew into it and I didn't see it. I was like, I was trying to like talk myself out of it because like at that time I was like so terrified of everything still. I'm like, there's no way. Like, there's no way.
That would be pretty cool. I wonder how many times that happens to musicians and they don't even know it.
I know. They probably don't even acknowledge it.
Like, it could be a good project too.
Yeah. Like, I was always on edge so much, like, in that house for a very long time. I was just like, I didn't even like sleeping with the lights off at one point. I'm like, I used to tell myself all the time, I'm like, you're such a big baby. And then I was like, no, you're not. Like, you saw a woman watching you sleep. Like, what are you talking about?
You're like, who needs spirits to bother me when I'm having an inner conflict at this moment? No. Right?
Yeah.
That's funny. Everybody's like, hey, back and forth to each other. I just like to, I try to interact a lot with the I call it the crowd. It's not literally a crowd, but you know what I mean? Like when you play on stage, you probably want to give back to your fans and like interact with them and keep that connection going to keep the energy alive. Yeah. That's why I think it would be neat, like really like what you were saying, like if you played music for spirits, I think that would like, wake them up if they weren't there, and they were kind of like, man, we're bored. Oh wow, this guy the music. Well, it
was so cool because I mean we had an acoustic on the second floor. I was documenting, like I was really in the zone of listening with my audio equipment that I had there and trying to document what was going on. We had collaborated with this idea, like I said, for like a year, and we put together a list of what we wanted to do and ran it by each other. Like every couple of weeks we would talk about, like, did this work? Do you think this would be okay? Would this be better than this? Like we did that for a very long time, and it just worked out so perfectly. And when we got done and we were taking a break with, I think, the second session, because the third session wasn't very long, we went downstairs to the first floor. They call it the red room or the parlor. And we were just talking. We were literally hearing while she was singing. I still have to review some of it because I'm not sure if it was just me or if it was because it was 2 channels with 3 mics or what it was, but I was hearing multiple vocal tones over top of her speaking and singing certain verses. So I was like, there's more to this that we're hearing, and they were hearing certain things out loud with their own ears at one point that I wasn't hearing through the mic. So it was almost very situational, and they were being selective with who was hearing who at the time. It was very strange.
Like backup singer ghosts?
Yeah, it was so bizarre. It was like I could hear multiple vocal tones at one point, and I'm like, I remember taking the headphones off, and they looked at me. Bonnie looked at me, and then Alex looked at me, my fiance, and she was like, what? And I'm like, I know I'm hearing more than one person right now. And she's like, yeah, we've been hearing it too.
That's weird.
So bizarre.
Oftentimes music brings Alzheimer's patients more aware and alive again. That's really cool.
Yeah. My grandma has Alzheimer's.
So you need to go to an asylum or an old abandoned hospital that's haunted and play your heart out.
Absolutely.
And see what you get.
Yeah. We're playing in, this would be the 3rd time we've been to St. Albans, but we're trying to get back to St. Albans this year.
Wow.
It's funny.
What do we got? Do we got somebody coming on after this, or what's going on? It's 9:38.
Oh no! Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we need to end. Sorry.
Okay.
The comments are just like bam, 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 bam.
Well, I just want to say thank you guys so much for having me on, and I thank you all for seriously, like, in the comments for watching. Like, I can't see them, so everybody that I can't see, I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to my stories and getting to know me. It's been appreciated a lot.
Yeah. And where can people find your paranormal team information, like on?
So you can find us on Facebook at Beyond the Veil Paranormal and Beyond the Veil Paranormal on YouTube. And we also just recently created a TikTok for short little snippets of evidence that we have in videos. So if you don't like watching full-length videos and you just want to see little pieces of evidence or things that you might want to compare to your evidence, you can check that out there as well.
Thank you for everyone who's watching.
Yeah, guys, thanks for giving us a good show, good comments, good questions.
Have a good night.
Take care, guys.
See y'all.